Hello, I'm Nifty Nomi, bookkeeper and business basics educator. Now, this is one of those questions that comes up a lot, and I model it, along with many others, inside my bookkeeping simulation of a Canadian business, where you can practice with real source documents across multiple months. This clip is just one small piece. Details are linked below. Now, onto the solution. So now is a great time to talk about leases. So there's two main types of leases. You've got the capital lease and you've got the operating lease. Now, an operating lease is basically just renting something, right? So if you're leasing an apartment or you're renting an apartment, at the end of the lease, you either renew the lease or you leave. And if you're leasing a car, and I'm talking about leasing a car like personally, I'm not talking about in business, but just think of outside of business, somebody leasing a car, generally at the end of the lease term, they give the car back, right? Though they do have the option to buy it out for a sum of money that may or may not make sense. But these are called operating leases because you're basically renting the thing. Now, a capital lease is what I call a fancy way of financing, right? So basically, a capital lease is you're not just renting it, you're leasing it, and the buyout option at the end is a no-brainer, right? The buyout option at the end is really small. You might it's basically a glorified type of finance, and that's what we call a capital lease. So to go back to the example of leasing a car, but not in the business world, just leasing the car. At the end of the lease term, you look at the lease and you're like, do I want to buy the car for $20,000 or whatever the buyout amount is? Or do I just want to release? Or do I want to buy a new car? Like, you've got all of these options. It's not a no-brainer. You sort of have to hum and haw about it. But if it's a capital lease and the buyout is like $10, it's a no-brainer. Like you $10, you take the car, it's yours. And so you can see how that sort of capital lease is a way of glorified financing. But it's not the same as a loan. So we saw an example of financing already when Sarah bought the truck, right? So who bought the truck? Sarah bought the truck. Now, she's a sole prop. If this was an incorporated business and the corporation was going to buy the truck, then the corporation's name would be buying the truck, right? But then they go to a finance company and they ask for a loan. So the loan is in Sarah's name or the business's name, and the purchase of the actual asset is in the business's name. And because of that, that's a loan. She got to claim all of the HST because it's her truck, but she also owes a ton of money. Whereas a lease, it's actually LeaseCo. LeaseCo is the one who is purchasing the Easy Edger. And because of that, LeaseCo gets to claim all of the HST on that purchase when they buy it, that HST credit. And Sarah, you can see, she has to pay this $103.73. And when we look down at the details of that, that is actually $103 plus $13 HST for a total of $117. So when it comes to a lease, no matter if it's an operating lease or a capital lease, the HST is actually claimed with each of the lease payments. So whether it's a lease that's sort of just renting it and you give it back at the end, or if it's a capital lease, like a glorified way of financing, and you buy it out at the end, you can see that the HST is going to be claimed in little bits over time like this. We can go back up to the beginning of this lease paperwork and we can see actually that the option price, so that's the buyout amount, is $10. So if you've got like a $10,000 piece of equipment that you're leasing and at the end of the lease you either give it back or pay $10 and the ownership gets then transferred into your name, obviously $10 is a no-brainer. So that's one of the ways that you can tell the difference between an operating lease, where you're just renting the equipment and at the end you either give it back or decide to buy it for an amount and it may or may not make sense, or a capital lease, a type of financing in which the buyout option is practically a no-brainer. So when it comes to bookkeeping and accounting, what is the difference in how we treat the leases between the operating lease and the capital lease? Well, in both of the scenarios, generally in the bookkeeping, we would put in, for each of the lease payments, we put it in as equipment lease expense. And then we also claim the HST on that, as outlined by the HST breakout in this section below. And we'll do that whether it is a capital lease or whether it is an operating lease. And this is also true from an income tax perspective. So when the taxes are done at the end of the year, we're not seeing an asset on the balance sheet and a loan out to the lease company. What we see is just lease expense claimed over the fiscal year. But that is only from an income tax perspective. Remember when I said the financials are different for an income tax perspective versus just sort of like the GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles perspective? This is when I was talking about depreciation. There's a certain way that we claim a capital cost allowance, CCA, the amount that we can claim related to how the asset devalues over time. It's a structured way, there's a tax way, and that's the way that we do it for tax purposes. But the financials for like GAAP purposes, you can depreciate it in the most realistic way, like straight line or over the, actually it's going to last 7 years and all those sort of things. Because the GAAP financials, you don't want to see based on tax rules, you want to see legitimately how well is this business doing? What are its assets balance at, right? What are its loans and liabilities balances at? And that's where this difference between the operating lease and the capital lease comes in. What's going to happen is the accountant, when they prepare those financials, they need to know that this is a capital lease. They need to know how much the asset value is. So that's why that quote is in there, and then see the details of this capital lease so that they can show what the asset value actually is and what the loan liability actually is. Even though it's a lease, on the GAAP, actually what's happening financials, you want to see the asset and you want to see the liability. So from a bookkeeping perspective, it's important for us to make sure that we have that paperwork to give to the accountant at year end for all of the leases, right? So that the accountant can ascertain if it's a capital lease or an operating lease and make sure that if they're going to create those GAAP financials, not just the tax financials, but the actual GAAP ones, that they're going to have a better representation of reality when it comes to these leases. Also, you're not always going to get a quote like we did for the Easy Edger. Sometimes I think the accountants need to just use fair market value to put those together. But you can see how having the quote for what the actual asset would have cost if Sarah had decided to buy it instead of doing a capital lease, that's going to help them with their work as well. So that's a bit of a long-winded way to explain why we're just going to put this to equipment lease expense. But I think it is very important for both business owners and bookkeepers to understand the difference between a capital lease and an operating lease for two reasons. First of all, so that we know what paperwork we need to give to the accountant if they're going to put together those GAAP financials for the business owner. And perhaps that business owner in that specific business wants to see their bookkeeping done on the GAAP financials way of having the loan, the liability, and the asset purchase on the balance sheet. There are ways of doing that, and that's for another video, but it's probably more specific to how the accountant wants it done in the bookkeeping. So we're just going to put this right to equipment lease expense. Another note on this is I don't just use the GL account name lease expense because that's one of those other squishy ones. Like a lot of people use lease expense, for example, for the rent of the commercial space that maybe the business is renting. And because it's sort of vague and ambiguous, I don't like to use it. I create a GL account called equipment lease expense, and I use it for equipment lease. Or I might have one that's called vehicle lease expense if there's a lease with a vehicle. And then for the property rent, I just call it rent. So that's a Naomi way to make things a little less ambiguous and a little less vague. So let's go ahead and put in this initial payment of $319.17 together. So who is she paying? She is paying LeaseCo, and she's paying that, we can confirm, out of the operating account. Let's take a double check and make sure that it is coming out of the Canada Bank. So the amount is $319. So I'm in the Canada Bank transactions, and I'm just going to quickly look up $319.17, and we can see, yes, it is coming out of the Canada Bank. So she's paying Lease Co. and she's coming out of Canada Bank, checking. And that date was the 23rd, I believe. Yeah, June 23rd. And we could put the lease number in there if we wanted. But I just took a look and there's no lease number on this one. But if there was a lease number, you could put it in there. We're going to say that this is lease, equipment lease expense. And as I mentioned before, it's important to indicate what is being leased in the memo here. And it is this Easy Edger right here. So let's put that in. It is the BE 400 Easy Edger. And then we'll say SN 987-987-8874. Excellent. And the amount of this payment specifically is 319.17. And we'll just say inclusive. I'll put that back again, 319.17, like this. And that's inclusive. So you can see if you were to add up all this GST, HST, it would come to 36.72. Another thing that's important, I feel, to do when we put in the first lease payment is you're going to want to put in the actual lease paperwork right here. So we would attach the quote and we would attach the lease itself. Conveniently, we're still at week number 3, and that was last week, and this is where the quote is. So I'll put the quote in, and then I would also add and go back to week number 4. We're in charges, and let's put in this quote right here, open. Now, don't assume that the accountants know that those attachments are there. Not all accountants know. So I would definitely include both of these in the year-end paperwork that you give to the tax preparer or the accountant. But whenever there's a reoccurring charge, right, I like to put in the paperwork on the first instance of that charge. And I want us to make sure that we have this Easy Edger description lease the next time the lease gets charged. And so what I would do is I would probably also take a look at the July transactions and find the one for 117.21. I would start that, I'd put that description in so that moving forward, we would know that the 117.21 is for the Easy Edger lease. And this first payment right here is the one that has the items attached to it. Excellent. So let's go save and new and see what's next. This clip is taken from one of the walkthroughs inside the Grand Gate Gardens real-world bookkeeping simulation. This Canadian business simulation includes multi-month practice work, downloadable source documents and bank feeds, common error spot check questions, and guided walkthroughs. If you found this video useful, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm also on Instagram at BeThatBusiness, and you can tweet at me, X at me. I'm at NiftyNomi, and I'm also at NiftyNomi on Twitch and TikTok. And you can find resources and courses about running a Canadian business on my website, naomiwilkins.ca. I love making business make sense. The video today was recorded in beautiful Oshawa, Ontario. Thanks so much for watching, and get out there and be that business that thrives.